you spend too long fiddling with and automating parameters to make your techno sound less static, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you how I use Ableton's expression control device to inject randomness and variation into any sound without writing a single lane of automation. So welcome back. I'll give you a listen to the loop I made for this video and then give you a bit of a rundown of how I made it. The loop consists of three groups of sounds: my low end, my drums, and my synths. The low end is made from a couple of samples from my Overstayer sample pack, a kick and some toms, and then the bass line I wrote with my hypnotic bass generator. I wanted to say a quick thanks to everyone who's supported me and downloaded those so far. If you're interested in using those tools, I'll leave a link in the description below. And I used expression control on two of the sounds in this loop. I'll dive into those individually and show you how I use that tool to make the loop a bit more interesting. Expression control is like a MIDI modulation device with varying different parameters and controls to modulate different parameters in your MIDI channels. There's multiple different ways that you can impact your parameters. In this example, I've made use of the random option. Back in the early days of techno, when producers recorded their drums, they would have done it live on their drum machine, on a Roland 909 or 808 for example. In many cases, they would have had their hands directly manipulating the attack and decay on their hi-hats or other percussion sounds to make it evolve over time and shift as the track played. And this is one way that you can try and mimic that approach with your drums in Ableton. I've chosen a couple of random MIDI controls here and assigned them to the attack and the decay of my closed hi-hat sound here. This adds a bit of life and variation to the hat and makes it sound way less static. As I'm sure you could tell, the before sounded really static and repetitive, and as soon as you add the expression control, it's almost as if you've got a real drummer playing that hi-hat. But expression control can be used on any MIDI device, so you can really use it to add randomness to any sound. In my second example, I've used it to automate 5 different parameters on this operator synth sound, meaning that every time it hits, I'm getting a completely different sound. The pattern that I wrote for this loop is 8 bars long, so I won't force you to listen to that whole thing. So I made a second 1-bar loop here to show you exactly what it's doing. So if you watch the grayed out parameters in here and over here, you'll notice that expression control is going to give it a random assignment each time the MIDI note hits. This kind of modulation tool helps add life to sounds without having to reinvent your sound design or spend hours meticulously automating individual parameters. And stacking up little tricks like this is what's going to make you a producer that can make tracks in one sitting rather than a few days. If you're the kind of producer that wants to make your process more efficient and more effective so you can stay creative and finish more music, subscribe to my channel. I've got a new video like this every single week. And for anyone that wants to use any of my samples or tools that I use in my own productions, I've got a link in the description below if you want to support the channel. Thanks so much for watching until the end. Happy producing.